Hello guys. We're talking all things budget today. I decided to do a 28-day financial February challenge. The reason for this is in Australia, we have Christmas, we have New Year's, we have summer holidays, we have back to school and back to work, and it's a really expensive time of year. And I thought financial February would kind of like a really good time to sort of go, okay, the credit card bills are in. Let's look at the damage that's been done and put some things in place so next year we're in control of our money. I've decided to take an approach on this, not to sort of say, here are some ideas you can do. I'm literally going to share with you what I done or used to do when I was first starting my budget, and then what I do now and some tips along the way. I went online and I looked up and done a little bit of research on what a budget is, and all these things come up. 50% for essential living, 20% for entertainment, 10% for say, and there are all these figures and methods and what you need to do. The simple fact is you need to have more income than spending. That's pretty simple. You cannot have 20 cents and spend $1. Well, you could, but then you go into debt, and that's when you get into trouble with budgeting. To keep it really simple, you have to have an income greater than your spendings, and if you don't, you got to work on your spendings, which we will go into. I think I've got 4 or 5 episodes coming in this little mini series I'm doing, along with a brand new version 3 of my budget planner. One is free, and one I'm actually going to put there is a cost with it. It's going to be $2.99. It's not much, it's $3, and it'll actually get you a more customized budget planner, which I'll go into a little bit later. This video's topic is going to be focused purely on budgeting. My hair is actually really tight and actually giving me a bit of a headache. That's a bit better. Sorry. So my kids are down. My husband is at the gym. I've just made myself one of those, what do you call them? The bubble teas, which is going to keep me up all night, which is fantastic. But let's talk about my budgeting. I have been asked a few times through mentioning it through various videos, using my chit chat videos, that I bought a house really young, that I've kind of been a bit savvy with money and that sort of thing. And people would say, what's the tips? How do you do it? And to be honest, sometimes you just get lucky with things. And the other part is you make a lot of sacrifice. I bought a house. My first house I bought really young. I was very lucky when I purchased it to be in the position I was in to purchase it. But I also made a lot of sacrifices. I had friends in their early 20s who were traveling and doing all sorts of stuff. We had all just finished uni. They had incomes with no partner and no kids. They could do what they want with it. And mine was going towards a mortgage because I had a very broad plan on how I wanted to be in my mid to late 30s. And unfortunately, that meant that in my younger 20s, I didn't go on holidays overseas or spend money on extremely expensive clothes or items. I treated myself every now and then, but I definitely made a lot of sacrifices on things. But that's put me in a better position now for it. So yeah, a little bit is luck, but a lot of it comes down to what you're willing to sacrifice to get your budget goals in place, I guess you could say. Let me start off with what I done when I didn't have a budget in place. So I had just moved out of home. I've always been a budgeting person. I've always been a money focused person, not a money hungry person, just a money focused person. I remember when I was probably about 4 or 5, my grandparents used to take my sister and I to the flea markets, like traditional scabby flea markets on a Sunday. And my parents used to give us 50 cents or $1, because that's all you needed back then to be able to buy something. And we would go through and I would find things I liked and would want to purchase. And if I had $1, I would only purchase something that gave me change. It didn't matter whether I loved the item or not. I only purchased it if they were to give me change back, because I just wanted to have that security of having money. So I think it's kind of just been instilled in me a little bit. So when it came to budgeting, I actually found it probably a bit easier maybe than some other people. But anyway, after living out of home for a little bit, I sat down and I literally analyzed everything. I went through all of my statements for the past 12 months and worked out what I was actually spending. It's really easy to put a budget in place. Say I'm going to have $100 a week for groceries, $20 for petrol, Electricity, let's say it's be $5 a week and then $10 for outings. That's one way to do it. But if your $20 budget a week for petrol is actually $40, and it has to be $40 because you can't get to work or uni or wherever it is without spending that amount of money a week, you're already out of your budget. So what I done is I went through 12 months worth of statement. Yes, I did. So if you have never done a budget before, my step one that I done when I first started it was go through all of my statements. And the reason for that was I had some bills that were paid monthly. I had some bills that were paid quarterly. So back then I had like rate notices for the property that I owned. I didn't live in it, so I had to make sure that they were coming to me and I was on top of them. And then I had some things I came up like annually. I had insurances that were paid on a yearly basis because I would get like a small discount if I paid up front for the year. So I went through every single statement and I categorized it. Now with my budget planner, I'm just going to bring it up on my computer here. You can't see it, I'm not ignoring you, but I'm going to bring it up here and I'm going to tell you the headings that I have found over time that have actually worked the best for me. And it's really simple. I'm purely talking about your spendings right now. So my headings are food, any of the food that you eat. So when you've got a coffee receipt, an outings receipt, your groceries receipt, all that kind of thing, I put it under my food category. I have a home category and that comes down to like your water rates, mortgage, rent, all that kind of thing there. Motor vehicles, public transport, your insurances, anything from like your car insurance to your life insurance to your medical insurance, technology, there's a lot of that. I don't know if you guys heard that with my daughter, she's still awake. Technology, so anything like mobile phones, plans, monthly apps you might pay for. Go through your statements and pull it out and put it into a technology little box. Some things that get overlooked in regards to beauty and health. So I have a beauty category and a health category. For me, beauty is shampoos maybe, face massages, back massages, makeup, skincare remover, moisturizers, tanning solutions, waxing, that kind of thing. And then I've got my health section, and for there, that is where we put away money every week to allow for our health. Maybe you put your health insurance into there. Maybe for your health, you consider your eyes. If you've got medical needs and you have medications that you need to go into the health section, itemize it. Write it all down. And then over time, I've also added things. So things like schooling. So when I was finishing uni, but I had a HECS debt to pay, and now I've got little ones in daycare and about to start school, need to start factoring in those kind of things. Special occasions, so start budgeting for like Christmas, birthday parties, not just my kids' birthday parties, but my friends' birthday parties, my kids' friends' birthday parties that they get invited to, the nieces, the nephews, the extended family that we definitely will buy something for. They're usually the hidden costs that you don't think of. It seems kind of silly, but in your budget, well, in my budgets, I have always budgeted savings. It's not just what's left over is your savings. No, I budgeted for it. So every dollar I earned, I gave a job to. So there was a percentage, or there was an area, or there was a certain dollar amount of my income, and that job for that certain amount of money was to be my savings. That's how I looked at it. I think some people do a budget and they go, well, whatever's left over is my savings. I like to actually give that money a job. So I might say $10 a week, $50 a week, $30 from every paycheck, whatever overtime it might be. If you're on commission, maybe it's percentage-based thing. Maybe you've got a dual income. It might be, well, a percentage of my income and everything else my partner's pays the bills. Allocate your money a job. So allocate some of those dollars to be savings. Their job is to be savings for your budget. We got a pet, we need to start budgeting for pet. I don't know if you want to look at doing food, health of the pet, vet check, collars, toys, all that kind of stuff there. Just don't forget that if you have pets, you need to budget for them. They're not free and they're not cheap. And you also need to kind of budget in for their longer term health when complications come up. Our dog had to have some teeth removed recently. Although it wasn't overly expensive, it wasn't something that I was like, oh yeah, that bill's going to come up soon. I'm aware of it. but we do allow for those kind of things to fluctuate in our budget because we have a little bit extra sitting in there every week. It's only a couple of dollars. When something comes up, we either need to top up with our savings to help pay for it, or that money could be ticking over for 6 to 12 months and we can easily pay for it without going on a credit card. If you are a homeowner, don't forget things like your utilities, your water, your electricity. You might consider like your phone part of your utilities, maybe the internet part of your utilities, council rates, gas and that sort of thing. Sometimes those bills do get overseen because they are a quarterly bill. They're not a weekly bill, they're not an annually bill, and we do forget about them sometimes. I did do it once purely out of, I wasn't getting the emails because I had signed up to electronic notifications, which means I had to log in. I wasn't getting the emails. I thought it was automatic deductions from my account every quarter. Wasn't happening. Didn't pay for like 3 quarters, and then I get this massive bill. Always allow for it. I was able to pay for it because I had budgeted for it and the money was sitting there, but if I hadn't, I would have had a massive bill that would have gone on a credit card. And then 2 other things I have added is probably came about in the past, probably 3 or 4 years after having kids, bulk purchases of things. It's so easy to go to Costco's and walk out with a $400-500 bill because the things you purchase are in bulk. Some people just don't have that money lying around to go make such a large purchase. But in buying in bulk, you save more money. Buying toilet paper, nappies, cereal, rice, flour, sauces, you name the kitchen, pantry, bathroom, toothpaste and that kind of thing. If you are a bulk purchase, whether it's going to Coles and stocking up, Woolworths and stocking up, a bulk food store of some sort, you kind of want to have that cash allocated because you need to give every dollar you earn a job. And I have got a section now that you can allow for saving up to make some bulk purchases. And the last one is an emergency fund for those hidden costs that might come up from time to time where either you haven't thought of it, it was a bigger expense than you thought. Maybe you've had to go through an insurance claim for something and you have to pay the excess and you haven't budgeted to pay the excess. Maybe you've had a couple of things come up in regards to health and you don't have health care and the tooth cost you $800 instead of $200 and that kind of thing. So I have an emergency fund in the budget planner now, and it's pretty much essential and non-essential. And it can be anything from a couple of dollars a week here or there. Now with the savings and the emergency funds, I pretty much say once you've gone through and done all of those categories and put your money into a section to give them all a job, if you've got any money left over, I pretty much say split it up and put it into your emergency fund and into your savings account, depending on how you want them to sort of sit and balance out. Now, this is probably the real tedious task, and I've gotten really good at it now where I only need to do it every quarter. So once a year I take 3 months worth of credit card statements or bank statements, and I pretty much, well, I used to go December, January, February because that tends to be like the Christmas time of year. I think now I might go like November, December, January, and I can do my budgeting in February every year. But I would literally sit down, so if you haven't budgeted before, this is how I started. Get every bank statement for the past 12 months and find out what you are actually spending. Again, no point budgeting $20 for petrol if you have to spend $40 to drive your car. So go through and work out all of your pricings for everything. Now for me, I've done budgeting for quite a few years, and again, I will sit down for 3 months and kind of work out an average from there. I know my quarterly bills very well now, and I know my annual bills very well now. The next thing you need to do, the next thing I done is I work out, is my budget weekly, fortnightly, monthly? I have always budgeted weekly. I've been paid monthly. I have been paid contract work, I have been paid fortnightly, and I have been paid casual rate. So I do the job and a few days later I get paid. I have always budgeted weekly because I find it easier to almost hit my budget goals on a 7-day window compared to a 14-day window compared to a month window. So every 7 days I can go, yep, I stuck to budget, I stuck to budget. 14 days, there's a lot of room for error. A month, there's a lot of room for error. And if you set your budget up correctly, like I said, I've been paid monthly before and I still budget every week because in my budget planner, if you pay for the customized one, it will give you the options of weekly, fortnightly, or monthly, but it'll also give you an overview. So if you budget monthly, I will also give you a breakdown of what the weekly and the fortnightly will look like and annually what you'll need to be saving or spending for that particular topic. Now, what I like to do as well is I go through and work out what is an essential payment and what is non-essential. That can vary for everyone, but for me, I keep it really simple. I need a roof over my head, I need food, I need to pay electricity, I need to have a car that runs and functions, insurances, things like Netflix, things like going out for coffees, non-essential items, new clothing, holidays, trips. Again, I went without a lot of the non-essentials to be able to buy that home when I was so young. Didn't have to. I could have had a non-essential budget to my heart's consent, and I could have traveled the world and done a bunch of things, but I made choices to purchase a home, and I made other sacrifices. So when I do my budget, I look at my essentials to make sure they all get paid, and then I fill in the non-essentials. So once you've gone through, so this week 1 of this 28-day February challenge to get our finances sorted, you are either going to do, if you're a budgeter and you're pretty good with your finances, you know where things are sitting, grab your last 3 months, and I want you to go through and pick out everything. I'm going to put the topics up here so you can see what will fit into the budget spreadsheet. I'm actually going to bring the budget spreadsheet out this weekend. There is a free version. The free version only has a weekly option and an annual view. Paid one, which is $2.99, comes with a lot more features. It comes with weekly, fortnightly, monthly, annual totals. You actually get a pie chart showing you a percentage of where your money is being spent, if you're that kind of person. It gives you tips on every page that you fill in. It's got sections in there where you can put in like your policy number, your excess, just so you got a broader overview of what you're actually paying when it comes to like insurances and that kind of thing. I've got tables in there, I've got links in there that you can click to go to the ATO website and a few other bits and pieces as well. So if you want to go for the paid one, that is an option. And then if you wanted to go for the free one, which is totally fine as well, that will be available as well. That'll come out on Saturday. So Saturday, let me just find the date for you guys because I'm actually filming this video a bit in advance. It will be Saturday the 5th of February. I will be bringing out the 2 different types of version 3 budget planners. You will need a Gmail email account. I have created this through Google, and Google works with Gmail, so you'll need Gmail. There will be instructions you will need to follow on my website, Her Ordinary Mum, to purchase it. You'll purchase it, I will send it to you, download it, save it to your own Google Drive, and then you can go nuts and do what you want to do with it, and then you can start your budget journey with me. Sorry, my camera was just full. I just changed the chip. Some questions I might get asked if you have put your budget in place. So you've worked out all your spendings and you've put your budget in place and you've gone, I overspend every week. So you've got that 20 cents, but you're spending $1. So you're technically in debt every week. You have to make the decisions to make changes to your spending habits. It's that simple. We are going to be going through some renovation soon and spending some money, and I would love to go out in these January sales and purchase some new things for myself, but my focus is getting my house up and running, some new pieces that we haven't purchased for 2 years while we've been renting here. I really want to focus on the home, so I'm making choices not to go and do Boxing Day sales and all that kind of thing. I'm keeping really focused, whether that's making lists or setting goals, or if you're a vision board planner, or if you like manifesting, that kind of thing. It comes down to your own discipline. If you don't have enough money to pay for your lifestyle, then technically you are borrowing that money from someone else. And the next episode I'm going to bring out next week, which will be around debt. Good debt and bad debt, and I've talked about things like afterpay before, and I'll go through a couple examples that I've learned along the way about good debt and bad debt, and just break it down in a real simple way for you to understand. So I'm hoping this first episode, the first of 4 or 5 videos, has kind of helped you understand how I budget. It's really simple once you get your head around it and you start rolling it through. I think my budget template I'm bringing out now, my version 3 one, it's probably one of the best ones I've done so far, and I have spent so much time on it, probably about 6 months, almost every night going through and checking and adding, and I've had girlfriends looking over it and friends looking over it and mums that I've found looking over it going, oh, what about this here, and adding this in and take this out, make it more simple, no, add more information in. So I'm hoping it's going to be worthwhile for those that that do want to either purchase it or download the free version. Also keep in mind that I am not an expert. Yes, I have studied subjects in the field of finance and business and that kind of thing, but I am not a professional. If you are really struggling with your finances and getting a budget in place, there are definitely some professionals out there that can help. It might be worth maybe doing some Googling or looking at like financial planners and advisors, or even the ATO website from assistants. This is just me talking about what I done to start a budget and then what I do now to sort of review my budget every year. So our challenge between now and the next video you see for this February challenge is to go through your statements, and whether that's sitting down every night and going through 12 months worth of statements, or you're a bit more advanced and you're at the next level of your budgeting and going through the last 3 months and then working out your quarterly and annual bills and finding out where you're sitting with your budget and reviewing it. Get them all in place, and then next week I'm going to talk to you about everything related to debt. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's meant to be a real casual chit chat with me and just talking about money and that kind of thing. If you have questions, think what I'm going to do is say leave all of your questions and comments below in the comment section. If you're watching this on your phone or computer, if you're watching it on the TV, pop onto your phone and leave your comments and questions for me. If I get enough, I will also do a post on my Instagram page asking for questions, and I might do like a chit chat fold washing with me as a follow-up on this topic, budgeting, and I can go through and just give some examples of what I've done, or we can have a general chit chat around things. Or if you bring up another idea, again, this is a community. It's not just about I've got these followers, it's a community. So maybe someone out there has like totally mastered the skill of budgeting around groceries and has a great tip and I can share it with you. So I might do a follow-up video on this topic here, and we can do it for the other topics to come in this series if I get enough questions or comments on it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I've still got one awake, so I probably need to go make sure that she's calm and settled. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for next week because I have more coming. Thanks guys.